invocation. You can all rise.
I have just a real short sermon to give you before I pray today. I just found this today and I just want to share it with you. It is impossible either to produce or sustain a republican form of government unless the powers apart from the theology of the Bible. The biblical view of man was the essence of America's greatness in the past. This alone is the hope of America's greatness in the future. Would you pray with me? Father, we're just thankful for the opportunity we just have just now to come and pray for this county council. We just pray, Father, that you'll be with each one here. We just pray, Father, for clarity of thought and togetherness in ideas, that they may work together to better this community, Fayette County. I do pray, Father, for our country. We're thankful, Father, for the freedom that we have to be able to meet as citizens and conduct the order of business each and every month. And we just pray, Father, for the hope that you provide for us, the hope of salvation, the hope of your Son, Jesus Christ, the hope that we have that the Holy Spirit works in our life. Father, the hope of abundant life and eventually eternal life. Father, we do pray for Holly and her endeavors. Just help her to work things out as best she can. These things we all ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Remain standing and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the next Fayette County Council meeting. If you have any electronic devices, phones, whatever, please silence them. Minutes have been sent out ahead of time. Hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to review those minutes for our April 6th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections that need to be made to the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion to approve the minutes from April 6th meeting. Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Minutes approved. I'll send them down for signatures. And if any of the past meetings that you haven't been able to attend, if you've not signed the minutes, please see Jane. Is there any mail that anybody would like to share with the body of the council? If not, moving on to our county attorney.
I don't have anything for you this evening.
Thank you, sir. I know we do have a committee report from Councilman Clark.
The Salary and Wages Committee, or Wages and Salary, whichever it is, 2 months ago after the meeting when we approved the 144 for a part-time maintenance person, was asked to look into consideration of a possible work order system to track time. I've said maintenance people. Since then, I've met with Jane more or less to better understand the payroll system, especially when it pertains to the county highway, since they have to split labor time between restricted funds and non-restricted. And in case we could, at some point in time, split some of the maintenance costs on the jail to the jail tax fund. If at any time there's some extraordinary amount of overtime, something needed, how they would report and do that. Then next I met with Bill Gray to find out what he exactly had in place. And the maintenance is kind of split up into two systems. The jail and the annex, since they are on Spillman software, he says most of the maintenance issues that need to have attention, which generally run plugged up toilets, overflowing sinks, and so on and so forth, are entered on Spillman, and he picks them up off of his sign-in. Then the next morning actually has a form to fill out of what needs to be repaired to give it to the person responsible there for doing the maintenance on it. It's got a complete date and everything. They're unnumbered, and it does have a Fayette County title to it. The courthouse is entirely different. He does an inspection every morning when he comes in of the main systems over at the courthouse, to see if they're all running and any major issues, electrical or whatever, and then we'll write them up. Any other, he gets information from the night staff on custodians, lights or toilets or something like that they may be having problems with. And then from the department heads, it can be a text message or just word of mouth if they happen to come in. He doesn't check his county email very often because it took me about a month to get a hold of him on that. After that, well, the committee met, which was composed of Kayla, Jim Wolf, and myself, and Dale Strong was present, and told them the information I had about what was concerning the work order possibility. I submitted examples to them of work order forms that you can basically buy off of Amazon, pre-made, 3 parts. Don't say Fayette County on them, but they've got location and who reported, date completed, and even got line items of what was repaired and what you could use for cost. In discussion with Dale, and one thing that I suggested that the part-time person, whoever is hired until there's a system in place, he should be given some kind of journal, or even if it's just a spiral ring notebook to record his daily activities. So maybe not next year since we don't have one hired yet, but the year after we can kind of see the value we're getting for our money. At the conclusion of the meeting, we basically felt that there was a need for an organized work order system to track, a form that even could be put on the intranet for department heads to print off and put in Bill's mailbox. And the meeting was left but Dale said he would present that information to the other commissioners, and also Bill on discussion of the work order form when they got to that point. And that's where we adjourned our meeting, and we had no further meetings planned. So we felt there was a need, though.
So communication with the work order is basically through verbal, text,
For
or
the
phone?
courthouse, yeah.
Okay.
I assume he just keeps them in his head. You know, one thing I tried to explain to him and Dale, what I thought would be nice on a form, that as he gets reports in, things that he thinks his part-time person could do on his own, depending on what his skills may be if they ever hire one. There could be a hook or something just in the maintenance office that Bill can put up there, so when the guy comes in, there's work ready for him to do, or Bill would be off on a leave for some reason, or vacation, or accident or anything that way. There'd be something there for the guy to do without having to, with Bill's absence. So.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Has Bill received the report that we commissioned as to the problems with the jail?
I have no idea. It's not a point of discussion.
I was wondering if he had, if we're doing anything to address any of those problems through maintenance.
I have no idea. That wasn't the scope of the committee, so I assume he does have. And
That'd be a question more for Dale when he gives his report. He can ask Dale.
I mean, if those are the things we're looking at that's a problem with the jail, then I think they need to be addressed as quickly as we can to try to get them solved.
Anything further, John?
no.
Anybody have any questions for John? Thank you for doing that. We have the president for the commissioners here, Dale Strong. Dale, would you like to have anything to share with us?
I don't have much to report. I will share with you that in just recent days, we were notified that Fayette County was awarded the maximum $1 million community crossings grant for this summer's community crossings paving program. So I'm real happy about that. We were luckier than a lot of other counties. And also today, the commissioners did officially set a date for a joint session between ourselves and the council for May the 19th at 4:30 right here. The purpose of the meeting will be to hear a report from engineering firm DLZ. They'll be here to present a completed floor plan along with all other pertinent information that they've gathered together for both of us to share. And I've invited all the interested parties, and I think we should have everyone here except one or two people. So it'll be interesting to see what they will present, and they're supposed to have should have all the concerns Michelle and the sheriff had with the potential Dollar General store project solved, along with cost estimates and all that. And I will add, these people who've done all this so far haven't charged us a dime for it. So I really appreciate what they've done for us so far. So come the 19th, I hope everyone can be here, and we'll have a much better understanding of that potential project compared to all the other alternatives that may be on the table. So that's all I have for you.
You said we're confirmed at 4:30?
Yes, 4:30. That was especially for you, Kay.
No, that was for him.
No. Hey, Dale, have the commissioners taken up what John talked about when you guys got together with the work order idea?
We didn't discuss that today.
Okay.
Bill Gray wasn't here.
Okay.
The commissioners certainly have no objection to the idea, and it's just a matter of pulling together the bits and pieces that need to be done to put a system in place. I don't think it'll be very hard. I think it would be useful in many ways to track maintenance matters. And you know, it pays to have a past history, maintenance history on stuff, you know. You understand that.
Yeah.
And we just haven't done that. And I think it's totally feasible, doable.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get this thing going.
Well, I appreciate, the guys getting together and getting with you, and hopefully it'll work.
Yeah, it can't hurt a thing.
Nope.
Dale, have you begun, or are you going to look at the possible cost of insulating the courthouse?
Actually, no. That's just one thing on the long list of items that I know that want to get done. You know, I'm halfway between having one of our own employees or potential employees do that, or probably we might wind up having to hire an outside contractor.
Man, I just needed a cost base, so we're looking at budget. We like that's definitely something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
I would think for cost saving.
It's
Other night after a meeting with John Caleb, we went upstairs and seen what needed. And it does, some way or another, need to be insulated. Now, like Dale said, it has been insulated in 172 years, but that's a lot of money going out through the roof. And I think, could we get a grant for that some way, an energy grant?
You know, that's a good suggestion. It's worth looking into. I don't know if Duke Energy or if the gas company would have any grants, energy grants available for that, but that's certainly something worth looking into before we jump right into it, you know.
That'd be a definite cost savings. I mean, just heat and
Oh, absolutely.
electricity, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
You think all the money for 172 years went out to that?
When you get that figured out, will you get a top final figure on that? Will you let me know, Jim?
Well, I figure out what firewood was back 172 years ago.
Yeah,
I've still got it.
yeah,
Golly, Rick.
okay. Well, that's all I have for you folks. Kate?
Don't forget the annex building has a lot of maintenance issues.
Oh, don't you worry, I haven't
Okay.
forgotten about that.
And another question I had, have you guys come up with a plan yet on the COVID grant money that the county was awarded?
You're talking about the
4.5.
The rescue plan.
okay, the 4.48 million that we're scheduled to receive.
Yeah.
No. Now, the rules specify that the commissioners develop a plan. And we don't have a plan in place yet. And I've sat through several webinars on this subject so far. And everyone is telling us the same thing. Don't get in a big hurry yet. The guidance on this money, the way it's spent, is going to change. But they haven't come down with all the changes yet. And when you read the current guidance, you say, well, it's too bad we can't use that money for this or for that, because that's where we really need it. And they're collecting all these requests and all the information right now. And once it comes out, once they do change the guidance on it, I think it would be an appropriate time to actually put a real plan in place. And then, once the commissioners do that, the council has to appropriate the money. Where will it all land? I don't know. Nobody really knows yet. But here's one thing that I don't want to see, and I'm not going to stand for. I don't want to see this money wasted away and us have nothing to show for it when it's all gone. So this is a good opportunity for us to do something that have long-lasting impact on the community, and I don't want to see it just wasted away on stuff that is not going to really have much benefit.
Well, I agree with you on that point, because I sat through a webinar too, and one of the things they said was that 10 years from now, you'll be able to tell the communities that just spent it and those who invested in their town.
Absolutely.
So,
I hope, Scott, 10 or 20 years down the road, people then can look back and say, there's where it all began, right there, by that wise investment. And I've collected an awful lot of opinions and from various people about, everybody's got an opinion of where money should be spent. But you're right. I think it should be viewed more as an investment than just something to spend, because we're not going to have opportunities like this very often.
that's right.
I think we have until the end of 2024, don't we?
Yes.
But you have to have a plan in the first 60 days, right?
I'm not sure about that. I know we're supposed to receive half the money this month. And once it's received, I'm not real sure how much time we have to actually have a plan in place. But once the guidance,
Yeah, we don't even
the
have
final guidance comes out, then you can go. So everybody's got plenty of ideas. It won't take long to get it all down on paper. And you can rest assured I'll share it with you just as soon as we have something to share,
The ideas. I mean, the idea.
Yes.
Well, and you'll be getting input from the community too. I mean,
Oh,
pull
sure.
the players together, and
Yeah.
it's not just going to be 3 people in a room figuring out what to do.
Yeah. Well, there's more than I could say about that right now, but I think it's really a little bit too early to be laying ideas on the table.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
There is no old business, so we'll move on to new business. Michelle Dudley.
First of all, I sent everybody an email with several documents.
Several,
Yeah,
several.
I saved a whole tree. First thing on there was the annual reports I sent for all 5 entities that received IDOC grant funding. And we're required to provide those reports to both the commissioners and the council. No action needed, just that it's on record that you did receive those reports. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? Okay. I also sent last week, I received the award letter from the Department of Corrections for the remainder of the 2021 grant year, which is July 1 through December 31st. The funds remain static, so we have to resubmit the budget portion by May 10th for the DOC to get contracts out. So basically it just doubled the grant portion on it, and the total for the year for the Department of Correction grants is $1,117,862, and that's for the 5 entities. The community corrections is $587,158. The drug court receives $125,025. Probation receives $175,935. Prosecutor diversion is $44,753. And jail treatment services is $184,991. And that will take us through the end of the year. The next thing I have.
Michelle, that was identical to 2020, correct?
Yes. Yeah. 2020, I think it was 2020, there was a slight increase that they gave across the board to everyone. It was a certain percentage, but that is identical to 2021. And they had to wait till the legislative session was over last week to get the award letters out, because I believe that went through the 2023 fund year. The next thing, I sent 3 pages of 144s, which is the base grant and the 1006 funds grant. I am having an extreme issue retaining help, even finding anybody. I cannot get anyone to even apply. And I'm losing even full-time help now to Walmart, because Walmart starts at more than my full-time staff that's worked there for 9 years. And we have to do something. I talked to the Bartholomew County director. He called me a few weeks ago because one of my former facility officers was applying there, and I asked him if he had the same problem that I did. They start their facility officers at $37,000, and he said he can't even get them to come in for an interview. Normally, if they come in for an interview, he hires them. He's having the same problem. Joey has the same problem at the jail. My current start rate for the jail, or for the facility, was $27,300 to start with, which was $13.13 an hour. The part-time started at $13.15 an hour. I know I was here in November and fought to get a $500 across the board increase for my staff, because you weren't aware that you would be able to give any county employees anything. But if you take that $3,000 and I split it for the hours on part-time, it would bring my part-time people from $13.15 to $14.60 an hour to start. And the same on my facility officers. So my advisory board, when they met on the 20th, increased the low range of pay by $3,000 on the low end. Top end remained where it was, and the part-time went to $14.60. In addition, The jail starts at $31,000 for a jail officer. My people then would start at $30,368, which is comparable. It's $600, a little bit more than $600 less than what the jailers start out. And I checked with Beth, and I think the road deputies get maybe $175 a year, longevity, jailers $125. So what I did was take longevity for my department at $100 a year, which is less than the sheriff's department. 5 cents longevity on the hour for part-time help. The board approved all that. And those raises I sent you, collections versus an expenditures. Those raises, including Social Security and PERF benefits, came out to $43,000 for the year for all staff over there. And that is easily sustainable because, as you'll see on the collections and expenditures, we have exceeded for the 18-19 fund year, $221,000 and some change, more than what we spent out of project income, which is our user fees. And in the 6 months of 19, when they were switching calendar years, that 6-month period, we collected $122,000 and some change more than what we spent. And last year, even with the head counts down because the courts had slowed, we still managed to collect $165,000 and some change more than what we expended out of that account. So the $43,000 is easily sustainable in the future. And then I did put on the sheet this year's collections. So far for January, February, and March, we collected $46,000 January, $37,000 February, and $52,000 in March, which averages $45,000. Which, if you average that for the year, it's $543,000 that we'll collect, and I haven't budgeted near that much out of PI. I think it's only like 200 and some thousand that are our estimated expenditures. So I just need you to approve the 144s that I sent to you. Does anybody have any questions or?
Well, I've got concerns, Michelle. I remember last November when we had this discussion, and I remember there was a discussion at the time between Mike and I about this is merely a requirement of you to get our approval for it, if I'm not mistaken. And Jeff maybe got some insight on community corrections on that. And I don't know what happens if we don't approve it. I assume you go to the state and still get it. But there's also a salary schedule, I believe, at that time for 2021 to 23.
That was done back in early 2020. Yeah. I can't keep help. I do the schedule. It takes me all day to do the schedule, and I do it a month at a time ahead. I had, just like last month, I had it done for 3 days. I'm waiting to see who's gonna quit. I post it, and I'm not kidding, within 40 minutes, I got a text from one of my part-timers that he had to quit because he works another job full-time, that he's being forced back to 7 days, 12 hours there. And then I have to inconvenience everybody, try to find coverage, and I can't find anybody. I've got two field officers now assigned back in the back, working a full schedule back there, and somebody from the jail treatment, because right now we're not in the jail because of COVID. I mean, I have to have people there, and I can't find people, and I'm only having 2.
It's probably not unique just to you or your.
I realize that.
We just got with Senator Young today. He said he's seen it across the whole state. You know, it's anybody trying to find any jobs anywhere. people don't want to work because sometimes they're incentivized to stay home. We heard last week that federal workers are paid $1,400 a week just to stay home for unemployment. What do you want to do? What would you do? A lot of people just choose to stay home and not work.
I understand that, and the work release facility, I got factories calling us every day wanting people. I got over half the guys in work release are working at one factory out of town that's calling us and wanting our people, and they're starting them at $19.20 an hour with benefits. After 90 days, they go up to 20-something. I mean,
I feel for you, Michelle, and, you know, like Mike said, it's everywhere. I constantly see on Facebook where Kelly's trying to get part-time dispatchers over there because she can't keep them. You know,
I realize that.
We've got a brand new nurse practitioner here that doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
And, I mean, so it's not just, you know, it's you and,
But I have the funds. It's not tax dollars. That money can't be used for anything else but our department.
I agree with you.
And the money is there.
Well, sometimes it's not necessarily the pay, it's people don't want to work.
Yeah.
They want to stay home and collect the unemployment.
I agree with that, but just like I said, I got a full-timer that's getting ready to go to Walmart because he starts it more, and he's been over here for 9 years.
Hey, sorry, we've never met. I'm Scott. Nice to meet you.
You too.
I have a quick question for you about this because I saw that you said the project income would help sustain those raises, and I understand that. Your area's got a big project that the commissioners are pursuing and at least having discussions about, and we've got DLZ coming back later on in the year to give us kind of a better idea about costs and that kind of thing. I know the commissioners have considered at least using the potential of that project income fund. Do you have any idea what percentage of that project income fund you guys might use for that project?
That hasn't been discussed, and the commissioners have no control over those funds.
Okay.
It's how low that we want it. Right now, I've got over $1.5 million.
It was $1.5 million? Last time I looked, it was $940. Wow.
Well, you're only looking at one fund.
Of the project income? Okay.
I also have a CTP fund, which has about $500,000 in it.
Okay.
And I have my commissary fund.
Okay. But only that project income could be used for that particular project, right?
No.
Or, no, all of them could?
The board has control over that.
Right.
And we have a community transition fund, and that's what was used to buy that building, was CTP funds. And the advisory board has complete control over that fund.
Right, I understand that.
And that's what was used to buy that. Project income, I have to get appropriations from the state.
Okay.
I put it in the budget and they yay it or nay it.
Right. Is there a feeling on the advisory board that they would be willing to use some of that project income money?
Yes.
Okay.
But we can't drain it.
No, I understand that. No, I understand that.
Just like that building, you weren't here, but it got water. It rained and the water came in.
Yeah.
That's carpeted in the back.
Yeah.
It's a washable carpet, but
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah, that's
But
not a good thing.
I mean, it was wet, which is going to create mold. As
Right.
soon as I found out when it came in, we had to have completely around the entire building dug
Yeah.
up and have that foundation fixed.
Yeah.
And just like that got paid out of CTP funds. I just went to the board.
Right.
It's easier than going through the state and having the paperwork
Well,
just to get board approval.
Listen, I understand you wouldn't want it drained.
Right.
But, we're going to have a better idea what the actual numbers are later on in the month. But based upon, for lack of a better term, the spitball from last summer, I know that Commissioner Strong has been interested in a grant that would cover, if we got a maximum award, that'd be 35% of the project cost. I'm trying, not only am I trying to determine, okay, if part of that money is used, right, for that particular project,
Right.
and we know it's coming, that project's going to come down the pike. Whatever's not used from that is going to have to be financed, which adds cost to the project. But it also, for your purposes with the 144s, I want to know how much is going to be left over, to make sure. I mean, just
There's still going to be, just by the calculations previous and going forward, our count's going back up as the court comes through. When COVID hit, we had 52, I think, in the work release facility, which houses 56. Okay, now we've been running in the 20s. So that count and that money is going up. There's still going to be well over 100,000 not spent per year out of what we collect. I mean, it's easily sustainable. And the advisory board is the one by statute that sets our salaries. And under Indiana Code 111222, the county executive and county fiscal body shall provide necessary assistance and appropriations to the Community Corrections Advisory Board established for that county. It's not may, it's shall. The board sets our salaries, and you need to fund those appropriations.
You're all self-sufficient anyway.
You try.
Oh, can I put one of our council members on the spot? You're part of that advisory board. Were you at that meeting?
Yes.
What was your take on the discussion and your feelings on it that you had then? I assume, did you vote yea or nay for it? Or?
I voted yea.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
And but I think there was, the only people that weren't at that meeting, I believe, was the sheriff. Was not there and did not have a representative there. Everyone else was there.
I think the advisory board, the salary wages board should review it before we make a decision tonight.
Well,
According to the ordinance,
I don't know if we have any say on it
Right.
one way or the other. I mean, we can all vote no tonight, but it's going to go through.
It's
I mean,
tricky.
we're the-
It's kind of like, and I'm well aware of the statute. It's kind of like it says that you shall essentially give them competent staffing. It doesn't say you shall give them what they want. It's tricky because they are county employees, and I think you have the ability to. It's debatable whether you have the ability to deny such a request as it's not consistent with their other employees. I think that you have that debatable argument. Now, whether or not we would have, the probation case from years ago where probation officers, that type of thing, I don't know. But what she just read, if you pay attention to it, it's essentially the same thing with court staffs. You have an obligation to give them competent court staffs. Period. End of story. You don't get to say, I'm not going to give the court staffing. Okay?
Right.
You have the obligation to give them competent and essentially effective staffing. You have the same thing here. And that's, if she rereads that statute, that's essentially what it said. It didn't say you shall do what the advisory board says. It says you shall, but read it again if you would.
County executive and county fiscal body shall provide necessary assistance and appropriations to the Community Corrections Advisory Board established for that county.
So if you listen to that, it's necessary appropriations, necessary staffing. What is necessary? I don't know.
Well, and see, this is where I get confused because it says necessary appropriations, but I don't know how much is coming up from property taxes.
but you're not,
None.
No,
none.
it's
She's self-sufficient. Hers comes from the state.
It's all the people that have been sentenced us. It's their fees that they're paying.
This doesn't go into effect for July 1st anyways.
Pardon?
This wouldn't go into effect until July 1st. So sitting on it for a month just to get clarification on our part, not saying that we won't do it, but I think it's something we need to get clarification on.
legally speaking, it is a very, very unique, and I haven't found any case law on it. There's some case law on probation officers and that type of thing, but I haven't found any case law on it. I mean, it's not something, it is a very unique situation.
Well, yeah, the state provides the funds, the state controls the funds, but we have to prove it.
And they're county employees, but you're not using really effectively any, if you're not using any county monies on
Yeah.
salaries at least.
Right.
But
Strange.
this board has to approve 144s. That's where the
Right.
only kids.
But like Jeff said, you're not getting any tax county funds. Your funds are coming from,
See, this is where we got into it last time when we were gonna put it
And-
off. And
Well, I don't know that that's, there is county funds that go to you, right?
No,
So what's the
no.
problem?
Well, pay for the building or insurance or lights or nothing?
no.
There's no, okay,
That's why I say she's self-sufficient.
okay.
Self-funding.
We don't pay for anything?
What's the problem?
I
That
thought
you
we paid
pay
like utilities and stuff.
some of the utilities,
Okay.
and that was
Well,
because
that's-
they were, wasn't there. That was because it was, something else was hooked to it that
Okay.
wasn't corrections. I don't know.
I thought that was like our grant match or something.
There was no grant match.
But I thought Diana always said that we had to provide something.
No.
And so that was, well,
No, I don't
So
think
Michelle,
so.
I'm not saying
And
no, I'm just saying,
I
I would like,
realize that.
I would like to just get this clear once and for all, because every time it comes up, it's confusing, and we don't know the answer because of the verbiage.
But let me just say this. I'm only asking for what you gave every other county
I know.
employee.
And I think what I would like to see is get us on the same schedule. You know, same, not 2 raises a year. Because essentially that's what we've been doing. It's just, you know, try to,
No, that's what happened because of, I didn't know what funding was gonna look like for 2020. The state didn't, that's why it went 6 months. And the other issue was our grant cycle used to run July 1 to June 30th. And that got changed in 19. That's why you've seen that 6 month on the collections. Because they were 6 month grants and then an extended grant like they've done this year. Everybody's been up in the air on it. But I have to have, everything's got to be submitted May 10th. And I have to go through and change everything. I've already calculated it in pencil. I'm getting ready to type it in. I've done the jail. I've saved the big one, the corrections. I was hoping to get everything lined out tonight because it's 60 pages of tedious budgeting that I have to go through and everything has to match. And yeah, I'm not asking for anything that everybody else didn't get in January. And I'm not asking for anything that my advisory board hasn't approved.
So what's the problem?
I just need you guys to, exactly, exactly.
I mean, we're at the point we were in November, as far as I'm concerned. And it's been explained the same way twice, that this is despite what the statute says, it's more or less a formality, from lack of a better word, even though it probably is more than that. But I mean, everybody can vote no to here, and it's not going to do anything, in my opinion, to keep the raises from going through. By the same token, it's not going to do anything, in my personal opinion, to guarantee we're going to get more help and better help. Because throughout every place I've worked at, there's always been somebody else paying more for the job they're doing.
But
Period.
it's pretty pitiful when you
Yeah.
can go hire in at Walmart
I
in the
agree.
deli and start at $15 an hour.
I agree.
But yet you can come down here and be responsible for the lives of other people,
Yep, I agree.
get vomited on, urinated on,
But you could
Get
get that
in-
at Walmart.
yeah, you're subject to fights. You have to go in there, and we do probably 20 drug screens a day. And I don't mean, it's not like when you go to the doctor and they hand you a cup and tell you, Michelle, go in the restroom and give us a urine sample. You have to stand there and you have to watch the urine leave the male officers do, males, females do. You have to watch it leave their penis, go in the can, and the girls you have to watch. We catch them trying to slip stuff in, and they come in with Wizinators and everything else. It's not a pleasant job, and some of them do other things in there just to try to gross you out.
Do I have to put this in the minutes?
Yeah.
Probably not. But I'm saying that this isn't like going and standing behind the counter at Walmart. It's not pleasant.
I understand that perfectly. I mean, I'm at the point, and I think I told Scott this earlier today, I got too many meetings the way it is now. But, you know, if I saw there was some basis for denying it, which I cannot see that there is. Yeah, maybe we should wait a month and have one or two more meetings in this next month to see, is there some other thing we can do, or can we talk you down to 2,000, which doesn't make any, because it's
How
not.
many
not
144s are you asking for, Michelle?
The same three. One of them only has one person on it because I ran out of lines for full-time people. And one's the base grant, and one is just the 1006. And I do it that way so I can keep track of which comes out of what funds and who was hired under. Because the 1006 came about in 2014, and it was out of the House Bill 1006.
So the percentage of increase for each person is a little different. Is that based on longevity and particular position?
7 people out of the full-time, just by raising that lower rate by that 3,000 would have gotten a raise because they were already below that. The others was a longevity raise, and even of those 7 people, they still got the longevity too. I didn't feel like it was going to be fair to give half of the staff a raise and half not.
Well, because some of them, you know, I just did a little math here. Some of them are 0.8% increases and as high as 11.2. And so that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, I've got 2 that have been there over 20 years.
I understand.
But again, your funds don't come from us.
Michelle, what would happen if you couldn't hire anybody? What would happen to your department?
I guess you'd close it.
Well,
Then you'd lose the grant and lose 12
Well,
full-time jobs.
Mike, do we need a motion for this?
Yeah, I mean, is there
You need
any
something.
circumstance, Michelle, that it's gonna cost this county anything?
None.
Then what's the problem?
That's my.
I'll make a motion to approve Michelle's 144 request.
second it. Third, fourth,
Whoa. Okay, first, who, second?
Give me Bob.
Give it to Bob. Okay.
We have a motion to approve Michelle's request for 144s and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Yeah, do roll call vote, please.
Nobby? Yes. Clark?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Bennington?
I'm going to say yes, but I'd like to address it at a time other than this, okay? So that we can kind of talk it through and come to some sort of understanding from this point forward.
So Bennington is a no?
Yes, for now.
Yes. Okay.
You can't change.
Riker Payton?
Yes.
Scott, I don't want you to tell me how much I
Winter.
Kind of like with Scott, same thing. I'd just like to.
I understand. I
I'd just
get
like to see
it.
how we're doing, how are we allocating these funds to certain people or addressing your needs, so, yes with strings.
Thank you. And thank you on behalf of all my staff.
Former Councilwoman Holly Dunn, you're up.
You got, I'm done.
You're on the list.
I'm used to going last.
He just wants.
You're saving the best for the last.
Oh, well, I wanted to say thank you for letting me come in and do a little presentation. Promise to be quick, and I don't know that I thank you. earlier today for your time. But most of you guys know that I've been working in substance prevention education in our community for several years. And this year's project is a little different because we've gone from working primarily with youth to really across the ages. And so my campaign this year is really 3 parts. One, we want to remove the risk. And so essentially what that means is if you have unused medications in your house that you, like sometimes doctors change your prescription or for one reason or another you're able to stop, that you get those medications out of your house. Because anything that's left in, it can be a temptation for anybody. And like I shared earlier, that we have an idea of what kind of medication that people are seeking, but reality is people will take a blood pressure pill. I mean, they'll take a cholesterol pill and mix them all together just because they don't know what's going to happen to them. And so as a community, we want people to get them out of their house, and we're trying to do our best at making that easier. So in the past, you've been able to dispose of unused medications at the jail and over at the police station. And as of this week, early next week, several boxes are going to be hitting other locations. So Fountain Place Apartments will have a permanent box. Turtle Creek Apartments is going to have a permanent box. And same with the Senior Center and Miller Moster Robbins. And so in communicating with in partnership with the Food Council, have had lots of conversations with people saying, one, I don't know what to do with medication when my loved one passes away. And so we want to really make sure that our older population especially has a way to get rid of unused medications. So I'm really grateful for Miller Moster Robbins saying yes. It can just be a part of your final arrangements. If you have leftover drugs, you can bring them in, lock them up, and a steel 180-some pound box with only one key that is at the police station. And so now, in collaboration with Connersville's Police Department, they will come in and empty those boxes, and then they now have an incinerator that they can incinerate them right on site. So they don't have to linger in a locker in the basement. They don't have to travel to Indianapolis a couple of times a year. They're able to get rid of them regularly right on site. So super excited about that. That piece of the puzzle, we do have more money to buy more lock boxes, not lock boxes, but medical drop boxes. So if you have suggestions or inside connections, I'd be glad to hear them at any point. Our goal was all funeral homes and all pharmacies. It's a little trickier than you think. And so we're continuing to move forward with that. I've spoken with pretty much all of the pharmacies. They answer to higher powers than locally. When you're looking at Walmart, it's not a local manager that gets to make that decision. So I'm excited about it. And if you have medications, please get them out of your house. The number 2 are shirts. We say protect the family. And that really is, if you have medications in your house like that you're on, just to remove that temptation from anyone, lock it up. We have been giving out boxes for people to lock up medications, and we'll give out more May 21st. There's an event in the parking lot, shirts and boxes, and so come out, get a free box. And while supplies last, we do have, I don't know, probably 70 left, 75. So come out and get a box. And then I'm thinking the other idea of, we did a drug take back day a couple weeks ago. It aligned with the nation, and we were able to get 75 pounds of pills, which is a lot actually, and then probably another 25 pounds of diabetic supplies that were able to be given to an international mission. So we're trying to do good things for our community. And I'm really grateful because we've had lots of great partnerships. The last little piece is I'm teaching classes called Prime for Life, and it really kind of makes you assess your life choices. So here in Fayette County, it's not a number I like to share, but statistically we die 6 years younger. And so that is some because of accidental drug poisoning. We have some suicide rate, and just we're just a heavier community. I'm standing here as an example. And so Prime for Life helps our participants really look at that locus of control, like who's in control of the choices they make, what is risky and what is not risky. You know, data says if you drink 2 drinks a day, you're okay, but if you're consistently drinking more than that, you're at a greater risk. And so it's just really kind of helping people just understand their piece of the equation. You know, just because you have heart disease in your family doesn't mean you have to die of a heart attack. You can do something different about it. So that is, in a nutshell, what I've been working on this past year. And I really wanted to share it with you guys, but I also, you know, wanted to share it with Big Brother and our local public broadcast and the news, just so that everyone is aware. Any questions?
I just want to say, Holly, thank you for all that you do for our community. We're going to be losing you, I understand.
I haven't really told the whole world that, but
Well, I just did.
yeah.
Well, I don't know the whole world.
I mean, whoever's watching, but yeah.
But I appreciate what you do for the community. You know, you've done a lot with the youth and everything. You've been very involved in things like this, and I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you, Mike. Connersville is, like, I will probably cry like a baby. I mean, it's not that I'm running from anything. I feel like not to be too Jesus loves me, but I really just kind of even feel like I had a baton and I ran as hard as I could run and physically see it as a handoff. Like I did what I was supposed to do while I was here and have been surrounded by like some of the best people that I've ever known in my life. So I'm grateful. And it's weird to sit over here and not over there. So I'm glad you're making those decisions tonight and I'm not. So thank you.
I apologize for
It's fine.
letting the cats live out with me. I'm pretty good for that.
Any other questions? You have shirts. The whole county's going to get some loot. I didn't get it done today, but if you need a different size or anything, just let me know. And I'm so thankful for you and just your support with the Drug Coalition too. Like he's helped us there too. So, all right. Well, I'll get out of here. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Holly.
Good luck, Holly.
We have no transfer request. Jay, you're on the hot seat. Council, I'd like to remind you, we have not used any no votes yet tonight. So now's our time to use them.
See how you are. We're doing the same thing I did last year, extra money for hot mix. I was sitting down with Jane, we figured out how much extra we'd have in there.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take, the one appropriation is for 300,000, which is less than what we put in for last year. But the other one's for 81 because we had to have money to pay for Butler Fairman, so they're coming in with all the designs and stuff like that, and we took the extra money for that.
Put them
Did you ask
together.
for paving money last meeting? Did you ask for paving money last meeting too?
We spent all of our paving money last year. We didn't get all our chip sealing done because everything broke down on us. That's why I come back and ask for that money for this year so we can get it caught up. Hopefully.
So Jay's asking for an additional appropriation of 300,000 for bituminous and 81,000 for other contractual services paid for the Butler Fairman Engineering invoice.
I say we approve the 2 requests from Jay for 300,000 for bus
Second.
and 81,000 for contract.
Second?
Second.
And second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the additional appropriate request for 300,000 for bituminous and 81,000 for other contractual services, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Jay, this is the NVH fund, isn't it? Okay.
I'm sorry?
This is the NVH fund, isn't
The 300,000 is
Yes.
1173.
The 1173 is the MVH restricted, and the 1176 is the regular MVH.
it? Okay.
Yes, they're both. I'm sorry, I thought you said Jay.
Oh, no.
So you're talking to him. I'm waiting on him to answer so I can type it out. No.
Thank you.
That's the highway
Welcome.
gas highway.
Okay,
Strip that has to be built.
again, we haven't used any no votes. So anything from the audience, otherwise motion to adjourn. Could say no.
No, we don't want to.
Okay.
Well, it's going so good right
I'll
now.
move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Nay.